All right, so today, oh, Sam's coming in right now. Hey, Sam, so we're just going to go over the feature that we're trying to go over today, Sam, is we're trying to go over having like multiple options pop up in a select menu. If you are talking, I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, no. I was talking to myself. Wait, so multiple things in a drop-down menu?
Mm-hmm. And having that populate from the back end.
I am not there yet, so I'm going to bow out gracefully.
I think if you're not there yet, you might actually be able to get something out of this still. So where are you at?
Where am I at? I have nothing. I know nothing about drop-downs at all. One parameter, 6 parameters.
It nothing. Doesn't. So this is just create, manipulate, append. How comfortable do you feel on create, manipulate, append?
I'm okay with that. Let's ride it out. Let's go. I'm ready.
Ride it out. I'm not convinced. I convinced you to ride it out. Stick with me. Okay.
Thank you.
I think it's less complicated than you think it is. That's why. So hopefully by the end of this lesson, all of y'all will be just less scared about this in general, because it's not scary once you see it once. Okay. So I have to stop running this. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. Whoops, I opened up the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. And I am going to pull up my Explorer. Oh, whoops. I got a CD out of here. I'll pull that up again. Cool. So now we have a front end and a back end. I'm going to delete everything from the front end just so we're starting all fresh. So delete file. Oh, I made a React front end for this. Cool. We're going to make, in our front end, we're going to make an app.js. We're going to make a index.html. And we're going to make an app.css that we probably won't do anything with. It just feels right, okay? It just feels right. All right. So now this is our structure. We have this back end. We have a front end. The back end's already working. So this is going to be kind of like a just watch, I guess. Or if y'all want, I can upload this repo really quick and you can try downloading it. No? Cool.
I'm just going to watch.
Same.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and just start with our HTML. I am just going to do the whole, for you, you just type in a bang operator. And for me, I type in HTML5 and it does all that shit for me. But you should be able to do that as well just by typing in an exclamation mark and then pressing like tab or something like that. Cool. All we want is some kind of form. So we're just going to call this the, I don't know, we'll call it the form. We'll call it a form and we'll call it the, I don't know, the characters form. ID equals characters form. We might not need that ID. I don't think we do, but it's probably good practice to put it there. Whoops. So then we're going to have a form. Bam. And we want to be able to create a character. So right now, if I go to my localhost 9000, these are what my characters look like. Cool. And what I need to do is let's just create a form that allows us to, I don't know, maybe we want to select a character and change their name. What do we think about that? Yeah. Do a patch. Okay. The only thing about that is that when I get to the part where I'm doing a patch, just so y'all know, I haven't done a patch in a while, so I'll have to actually probably use Postman and do some back-end debugging, but we don't have to do that yet. First thing that we need to do is select character, okay? So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to just look up. I'm going to cheat, right? I'm going to use Google. Y'all are totally allowed to use Google during your tests, right? So I'm just going to Google drop down select HTML. Let's see what we get. W3 schools is pretty legit. So I'm going to go to that. And I'm going to click on this try it yourself because this actually allows me to play around with it. Okay. So let's see what's going on. This is what I get. With whatever code is on the left, this is what I get. So basically all I had to do here was make a select. Just like any other input, this thing has a name. What does the name tag do? The name has a very important function.
Is it the path?
What?
Is it like kind of like the path?
So the name is like, let's say I send this to my backend, right? That's how I'm going to index it out of params. So if it's like name cheese, I could do params and then the colon cheese to get it. I'm gonna take a quick second to get some water. I want you all to look at this and just dissect it for a second though. Marinate in it. It's not gonna take long for me to get water.
Cars. It just looks like any list element except with just select an option instead.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Are you confused? Is anybody confused by how this HTML works?
The HTML itself, no, but I don't understand the name and value in the context of anything.
Oh, okay. That's easy. Value. What is value again? I can't remember. I don't know. Let's play around with it. I don't actually know why you need value here. Oh, it's because this is what the value. Okay, so the name and value is like what this text actually equals. This is not value. This is what it shows up as inside of here. So I could make this, let's play around with this. I'm going to do, we're just going to make this say fuck, 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 fuck. Okay. Now, if I go and let's make a script tag. So a script just allows me to write JavaScript in here. Normally I could just do that, somewhere else, but because we're restricted to this like IDE that they have here, if I want to write any JavaScript, I have to put it inside of a script tag. Cool. So I'm just going to write document dot. We're going to put an ID on this form. And this will just kind of show you like, this is kind of an advanced way of doing things, but this will show you like maybe what the different things are. You don't have to know how to do things this way. Oh man, Doomy just puked. I don't know why. Oh well, it's good. Alrighty, so let's say I give this thing an ID of, I don't know, car form. If I do a document.query selector on that, let's go car form. I can pull off like the different values from this, which you don't actually need to know how to do right now. This is more of a mod 3 concept, but I think it'll illustrate the concept here. So const, we'll call this form equals, and then under that, I'm gonna say, we're gonna do new, or what is the word? New form data, and we'll put in that form, and then I could do .get. I can get something by its name. So for example, I want to get cars. Well, if I have oh shit, that's not gonna work. Let's say it's, oh yeah, it will work. Let's say it's selected. So I have Volvo selected, right? So if Volvo is selected and I do new form data.get cars, and we're gonna console.log that. If I console.log this, does anybody have an idea of what that would be?
Would it be a list of Volvo, Saab, Opel, and Audi?
Nope,
No.
it's going to be the selected elements value. So right now it's, let's see if this works. I don't know where the console is actually going to be. Okay, so if I'm curious, where does, I don't know where my console is. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't like this. I'm going to copy this over and then just do it manually in JavaScript. It'll be easier. I am going to do this, and we're going to put this in here. So I am just going to cheat, put it there, do that. I just don't know that IDE that well, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take the all this script, and I'm just going to put it inside of my JavaScript. So I'm going to put that in here. And actually, we're going to take that. You know what we're going to do? We're going to actually take that and put it in our browser is what we're going to do. That'll be easier. Cool. And now if I give this a save, let's go ahead and light server this. It's running slow. So I got a CD into the front end, and we're going to run light server. And then also I have to, in a new terminal, let's just run our back end right now because I'm already got a terminal open. So Rails S, whoops, and then P 9000. Cool. All I wanted to do is show you that if I get this form though, which I can just do in the console here, would be a lot easier. Bam. Okay, so when I did .get cars, you see how this returned Volvo? The reason why it returned Volvo, oh shit, what happened? Oh, I need CD into the back end. Okay, the reason why it returned Volvo is because this value is Volvo. So even though this is selected on fuck, that's the text it's rendering, but the value is actually what this like text represents. Does that make sense? It's not that crazy. And if you don't remember it, or if you have to play around with it for a second to get it to work, that's not a big deal. Okay. But at its core, like this is actually pretty simple. Like all that we have here is we have a select, and then we have a bunch of options. The value represents where when you click on this, what does this actually equal? This represents what shows in the dropdown. And then this like 4 on the labels just tells it like what label it's on. It's not as crazy as you might think. And if you have to copy some boilerplate code from like W3 schools to get it working, that's totally fine. Cool.
Is the reason that Volvo pops up though? Did you hit select on that last when you just showed us on your browser? Because Volvo just popped up because it's the first value.
Let's do this. How about, I think this will maybe make it clear. Let's change inside, we'll change the value of Saab to be an Australian car. Okay.
Okay.
So now when I go here, I want to do, I just want to now say, I want to run this again, but now be clicked on Saab. Let me make sure I save this actually. Okay, so now here, I'm just going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to be on Saab. What do we expect the value to be now when I press enter?
You said an Australian car on mute, but I agree with
Yep.
that.
So now it equals an Australian car. Does that make sense? Now,
Yes.
this like form data.get is the exact same thing as when we send it into our backend, params, and then index at car. That's like doing that. This is the Rails way of doing it. This is the JavaScript way of doing the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, did that clear that up? Did that like answer your question about how a select menu works?
Yes.
Cool.
Definitely more so than I knew before, which was 0.
So now this is as easy as create, manipulate, append, right? So let's say we want this to be coming from the back end, right? This name is going to be like the key in the params hash. So since we're creating a character, we're probably going to call this a character, right? Because this is going to be the key that we're indexing out of the params hash. Okay, I can make this label. This label is just for looks, but fuck it, we'll make it because why not? So this is for character. So that's saying that this label is for this select item. And then here, oh, I forget the thing here. I think it's, it almost worked. Oh, well. So inside of here, we're going to have, needed to wake myself up. Let me drink some more water or something. I didn't listen to enough metal before this started. All right. So maybe what I would have in here is just like whatever I want to call it. So like select a character. Oh, fucking A. Cool. So now if I go here, this says select a character, and I could choose my different characters, except for the cars right now. So now all that I have to do is, we're just gonna mute these basically. So I'm just gonna comment those out. And basically all I need to do is create something that looks exactly like this, but from my backend. Does that make sense? Cool.
Could you so like we're naming that select right there after the label. The label is just for looks. Select is basically the name is the key that we're calling. What is the ID then?
The ID is just the ID for this select item. It's not, it's like exactly like HTML ID.
Okay. So it's just
you don't need this right now.
They're using it more because it's like the centerpiece of that like assignment on W3 schools, right? As more so than it's actually.
Yeah, you don't actually need the ID here unless you want to. It's good for like styling. So for example, if I want to style that, I go to my CSS selector and then I'll say, oh, let me select the element with ID, blah, 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 blah. Make sense? Cool.
ID hashtag, right?
The hashtag just tells it that it's an ID. Yeah.
Classes period.
Yep.
And we only use those with string interpolation.
Sorry, what was that? What do you mean by that?
We only we put the hashtag and stuff only when we're really doing string interpolation, right?
No, it's when you're using CSS selectors. So whenever you do oh, what did I just do? Whenever you do like document.query selector, right? Inside of here, it takes a string that's a CSS selector. So CSS selector, you put # before it, and that tells you select by ID. Dot means select by class. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So let's give this a save and now start thinking about what we're going to do. So first thing that we have to do is we have to link out a JavaScript. So we're going to do a script source. We'll make it app.js. And also we'll do a defer. Give that a save. Well, it looks good to me. I want to test to make sure that that worked. So I'm just going to console.log. So, chow.
What's up? Have you seen that video of the guy at the gym with those bands doing the "What's up"?
Maybe.
I'll find and send it to you.
Cool. So we know it's connected. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, where am I going to get the different options from if I want to go into my characters? So how do I have to get this endpoint, right?
Yeah, it's the backend server, right?
How do I pull it in from the backend? What's the JavaScript thing that I use?
A fetch?
Gotta fetch them all. Gotta fetch them all.
You gotta fetch them all. I like that.
Yeah.
By the way, that Harmonia thing that you posted yesterday was absolutely hysterical. The original version of that is just, it's absolute classic.
Bro, shitty fluted is incredible. I mean, if you just go on a Googling tangent of shitty fluted, there's so many of them, and they're all amazing.
The internet's undefeated, as always.
Okay, so in this fetch call, what's the first thing that goes inside of here?
That would be the backend server. So http://localhost for you would be 9,000.
See how fast I typed that? That was like 1,000 characters a second.
Your Vim game is has been stepped up.
I feel it's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie. I've been working pretty hard on it.
Well, it shows. It also the changing of the background color, the black is official.
Yeah, it took me some time to get used to, but I feel like I had this moment the other day where I was going too fast in a lesson, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm faster in Vim now, and I was very excited about that. But there's still some things that like will slow me down for a while because I have to go on a Googling tangent to figure it out, which is Annoying, but hopefully I'll be over that phase soon. All right, cool. So what goes inside of this dot then?
Response. .json. Yeah, sorry, I'm just.
Cool. And then what do I do next?
Then again.
Cool. And what is technically goes inside of these parentheses? You don't have to understand it perfectly now, but it might be worth committing to memory a little bit and just keeping it in the back burner. What's the data type of everything inside of here?
An object?
Nope, not an object.
It's not an object?
Nope.
Is it a function?
It's a function. Everything inside of this parenthesis is a function. Really good job. We call this a callback function. When a function is an argument to another function, it's another function. Do you want me to prove to you that it's a function? If I go to a node instance, node is just JavaScript on your computer. I could do this in the browser too if you'd be more comfortable. But if I type in like hello, fat arrow, I don't know, console.log, hello. What does that say?
Function.
Yep. So all of that evaluates to a function. And basically what you're doing is you're saying what got returned here. So here we returned the parsed JSON response. Now what we're saying is take that parsed JSON response and plug it into this function here. Now, this is called an anonymous function. It's a function without a name, but you don't have to use an anonymous function. I could also just say callback function here. And then without invoking it, right? Because it has to be a function, not an invoked function. Trippy concept. And if you're having trouble with that concept, don't stress too much about it right now. But you could do that as well. So for right now, what we're going to do though is we're going to do it the way that we know. So the thing that we get back are characters. So I'm going to take these characters and since I'm doing a bunch of things with them, I can't just do a one-liner. And since I can't do a one-liner, I open it up with curly braces. For now, you can just kind of remember that's how it works. You'll understand it deeper as you look at it more often. Okay. Now that I'm inside of these curly braces, I can start using these characters however the fuck that I want. What are the things that I have to do if I want to add an option tag into my thing? If I want to make what?
You have to create an element?
Yep. And I have to create an element for the characters array or for each character or what?
For each character.
So how do I go into like each character?
You do a for each.
Cool. So I'm just going to do characters dot for each character. By the way, notice how we do a fat arrow here? It's another callback function. Don't stress too much about it right now, but it is. Cool. Sweet. So for each character, we have to do something. And what do we have to do? Well, we have to create, and then we have to manipulate, and then we have to append. Right? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment them motherfuckers out. Move that over a little. Ooh. There we go. That looks better. Oh, it still looks shitty. Why does it look so shitty? What did I do? Cool, whatever. Oh, God. See, I haven't really gotten quite there with them yet. We're getting there, though. We're getting there. All right. So, how do I create an element? And what do we think the element that we're going to create is? Using some fancy Vim shit, I flip back to here where we can now look at what we have. What do we think my element, what type of element do I need to create?
A document?
A document is the object that has the create element attribute to it or method on it.
Select.
Nope, we don't need to make a select actually.
An option?
We need to make an option.
My fault.
By the way, I'm going to put this ID back on here, and we're just going to call this, character select, or we're going to call this character drop down. We're just going to give that a save real quick. So yeah, I have to create an option element, right? For each character, I have to create an option element. How do I create an option element?
Document dot create element.
Yep.
Parenthesis, yeah, quote, and then it'll be option.
Yep. So on the document object, we're calling the create element method, and we're creating an option. Nice. Now, what do I have to do to my option element to make it unique to a character? I am just actually going to copy this in. And we'll paste it in here and comment it out so that way we have an idea of what we have to do. All right, so what do I have to do to manipulate this now? And let's save this as a variable. Let's save this as, we'll call this, I'll call it character option or whatever. And since it's a node, what is a node? Can anybody tell me what a node is?
Oh, I can't.
So
Is
a
it an
node,
object?
what?
It's an object, right?
It's a specific type of object though.
It's a child object.
It represents like it's its own class, it's its own data type, and it represents an HTML element. That HTML element can either be inside of JavaScript or in like HTML, right? It could be stored as a JavaScript variable, but it's basically like an HTML element, and you can store it as a JavaScript object. As a JavaScript variable, or it can be like referencing something on the page. You don't have to store it as a variable. But in general, that's what we call a node. And when I use a node, I personally, this is not required, I like to indicate that it is a node by starting my variable name with a $sign. So that makes it easier for me to understand, oh, this element here, right? This is a node. Cool. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome. So now we have this new element that we created. It's not on our DOM yet, right? It's just in our JavaScript being stored there. And we have to manipulate it to where it looks like this. How are we going to do that?
You would do the character option dot text content.
That was just autofill. That wasn't even right. All right, what goes here?
And then it would just, yeah.
Where are we getting it from?
From the local host?
Nope. We're getting it from this
the character.
It's like a show. Isn't it like a show? It's because it's going to go through them all.
Mm-hmm. So all that I got to do is, since we're already iterating through all of these.
Oh, it's
I just
character.name.
Exactly. Character.
Sorry for interrupting you.
.name. Beautiful. No, please interrupt.
Oh, don't say that, because then.
In this case, please interrupt. There's like 3 of us in here.
All right.
Beautiful. So that's the first thing. And then there's one other thing that we have to do because we have to get this value. How do I do that?
Ooh, I do not know.
So I'm not sure that this works 100% of the time, but in general, these attributes is what we would call them if they're inside of the opening tag. You usually could do something like this. I'm not 100% sure that this works, but I'm pretty sure it does. If I do character option dot value, I should be able to also say equals character dot name. Or if I wanted to, I could set it maybe equal to character dot ID. That might be more useful. Let's try that out.
That's going to be more versatile down the line, huh?
I think so, personally. Cool. So now let's see what we got from this. Is this going to be on my page yet? We did the create and manipulate. Is this going to be on my page?
No.
No. So I have to append it. Okay. So what am I going to append it to?
Document.
What?
The document?
Hmm.
Oh, it's going to be to the select. It's going to be the select.
Beautiful. So in general, right, we can, I'm going to delete this now. We don't really need it anymore. But in general, we can append to any element as long as it has an opening tag and a closing tag. So what we need to do is we need to find this element and we need to append to that. This is where the ID is going to come in handy, because how are we going to document.query selector it, right? Does that make sense?
Kind of.
How I want to grab this tag. How am I going to do that in my code here? Tell me what I'm going to do.
Would you have to go like through the whole path of it? Like go to document.body. Like form.
Nope. This is what query selector is for. In general, you pretty much only need to use query selector to select stuff. It's kind of nice. But if I want to select something by ID, I just type in pound sign and then the name of the ID, which in this case is what? What's the name of the ID of this select?
Character drop down?
Character drop down. Right? And then I just need to append. And by the way, in general, you can usually do something like this. Dot append down here. And since this is like not attached to anything, it attaches to the line above. And what am I going to append in here?
Character option?
Yeah. With the dollar sign.
Dollar bill, yo.
Yeah.
This select menu is money. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's see if it worked. Or if I'm dumb. Uh-oh, unexpected token, JavaScript 2. Line 2. Right here. Anybody see it? I don't see it.
Do you think it could be some like ridiculousness because you put a space in between the opening curly bracket? That stuff has messed me up before.
Where did I put a space between the open curly bracket?
Oh, in the parentheses.
Oh, these spaces in the parentheses? No.
Respond. I don't see it.
Is that a colon at the end of line 1?
Oh yeah, that shouldn't be a colon. That's exactly what that was. It was a semicolon. It shouldn't have been a semicolon.
Pair coding for the win.
Shit gets so frustrating.
And now, whoops, my LinkedIn. Now it works though. Was I right that you should stick around, Sam?
You know what? I got to listen to you guys more often because by myself, it's a sinking ship.
Well, there's like a lot of things that are scary and you think that they're scary, but I bet this is less scary to both of you, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's essentially, it's just the same exact process as listing all the items onto the document, except just within a different.
Yep. And here's a fun fact, by the way. You never really should do that anyways. You shouldn't really just append stuff into the body of the document. What would be much better is if you created like a section. So for example, let's say this was going to be my index page. I would probably be better off making a section here, closing it off. I guess I could do this with Emmet abbreviations. So if I just type in section, bam. Oh, I'll show you something else cool about Emmet abbreviations. If I do section and then we'll give it an ID of characters section. If I fill out this Emmet abbreviation, it fills out that ID for me, which is pretty cool. Cool. But also, what's cool about that is that that's kind of like, you should definitely, my brain is farting. Hang on a second. in general, you should be appending it into a section or something like that, rather than just document.append. This is much, much cleaner. And now what you would do is you would do like character section dot append, blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So let's clean up some code. Okay. Now we're going to clean up some code. So
Can
I
you-
want to take all of this and I want to just put this in. Let's make a function that does this for me. We'll just call it append character to drop down, and we'll put in a character, and we can do this, right? And now I could probably take all of this shit, rip that out, put that in there. I think y'all will see why this is nice in a second. Whoops. And now we could say for each character, maybe we want to append character to drop down character. Give that a save. See if it still works. Still works.
Hell yeah. Can I ask you a quick question though? Because you made that into a one-line function on line 9. Oh no.
It changes.
Yeah. I'm more curious about the syntax because I know that they said that if it's a one line, you should just leave it on one line. But is this because the function is even, because for each is a function itself?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
All right, so you have the open bracket and you have a one-liner. So first of all, there's no explicit return, but that's just because it's cycling through the.
This is not, that's because you don't need the return value here, right? This dot append is a side effect. So in other words, nothing is being returned inside of this function anyways.
Okay. Well,
Right?
then-
All we're doing is saying do something with these characters, not return something. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
There are ways to do it in a more functional programming way where you are returning something.
I was just curious. So that makes total sense, and it makes the fetch look a lot better.
Mm-hmm. And now watch this. Let's say I have append characters to drop down. Maybe I could do another function. We'll do append characters, or we'll do, since it's one character, we should be character to, I don't know, character section. This is maybe a ridiculously verbose name, but it's okay. Put in a character, and then we'll copy over this, paste it, and edit it a little bit, right? So we still want to create manipulate append.
Yes.
We don't want to create an option, right? So maybe instead of creating an option, we'll just create for now, I don't know, an H1 tag. And we still want the inner text content to equal character.name. We probably want to refactor this to say, oh, whoops. We probably want to refactor this to say character, we just call it character. Cool. And we don't want to change that one. No, no, no. But we do want to change this one. Bam. So now what we have is, now we're just taking a character, but instead of putting it in our character dropdown, maybe we want to put it inside of our
New section.
Yep, our characters section, right? And now in here, I could just do append character to character section, character, give that a save, and character has already been declared. Oh, I forgot to make it $ character, so I'm gonna have to refactor this manually. $sign character. No, this should be $. See why the $sign could be nice?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a general practice sort of thing, similar to using const, so people who are reading your stuff after the fact just like know where they're at?
Const has another use, but it is a generally good practice thing. Const will physically break if you fuck it up. So that's kind of why you want it there, is because you want it to break if you fuck it up, so that way you know that you fucked up. So it's a little bit different, but you get the idea.
Yes,
Where
sir.
would you put the A tags in here to make it these hyperlinks?
Okay, so you're saying how do we make a show page basically from this point?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Would you rather do the show page or connect this form to the back end? Genuine question.
Both?
All right, let's do the show page first. All right, so instead of having an H1, maybe we want an H1 and then maybe one A tag. So what we'll actually do is we'll do an A tag. Cool. So right now this is just going to be an A tag. We can make them bigger A tags. They don't look quite right when you do it that way. Are they clickable? I think maybe because they don't have an href. Let's actually do an let's do a div. Watch this, ready? This will be kind of cool. Let's make a div, and then what we'll do is we'll just have inside of the div, we could make, I don't know, we could try this out. This will be a fun one just to show you like kind of what you can do. How about instead of doing text content, we do
Inner HTML.
Yeah, character dot inner HTML equals, and then now we know that this is going to wind up being some sort of template string. I need to uncomment that. So basically what we could do is inside of here, now we can just put, we have this div. Let's give this div a class name of something. This is for styling reasons. You would do something like this. So for example, I could say, let's just say like, oh, I don't know. Let's do character. And maybe we could actually call this a character card, would be a good idea. I think this might be a good idea just to give you guys an introduction to like good practices. So we could just say character card dot class list dot add. We just want to give it a class of card, so that way we can select all the cards, something like that. But then what we can do is inside of our div, maybe I want a card to look something like this. This is just, or here, I'll draw it out the ugly, dirty way. Oh, something's fucked. Oh, it's because I don't have a closing tag. Sorry about that. Cool. Okay, that looks better. But anyways, sorry that looked so hideous for a second. Maybe we want a card to look something like this. A div. Maybe we want this thing to have a class equal to card. And then inside of here, maybe we want like, I don't know, we could do an H1 tag with the character's name. And we can close that out. And then maybe inside of there, I actually want to make, I think you could do an A tag around a button, or a button with an A tag on it. So I think you could actually do something like this. Button, and then I think you could do, let's see if this works. I'm not sure if this works like this. A tag, and we could do href. I'm not sure if this works, but we'll find out. And guess what? I can actually just take all of this and we can actually just test it. So maybe I just want to go, oh, whoops, wrong shortcut. I just want to see like what one of these looks like. Yeah, it's not liking something that I did. I think this A tag might need to go around.
I think you got the backslash after the A instead of before the A.
Oh, that's probably what it is. Nope, it doesn't. It still doesn't like the A tag, I think, inside of the button. It looks like. Oh, I'm also missing a closing tag on the div is what it is. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. I'm just going to test it in my HTML. Cool. So it's going to look something like that, which looks hideous, but whatever. It's something.
I like it.
What we could do is inside of here, we could say, I don't know, see this character. That'd be a good one. Which you don't need to get this fancy on your thing, but I think this will maybe drive some points home. See character. All right, give that a save. Cool. And if we wanted to, this might be a good time to style something. Just so that way you could see like, oh, okay, this is how you would make a card. But we don't have to. Point is that now I have a character name and then C character, right? Let's just pretend like it looks pretty. Okay, this is hard-coded though. So what I could do is I could say, oh, well, that's what's going to go inside of my card. So I'm going to put that in my inner HTML. And now I have this. And all I need to do is start filling it out with the, whoops.
Interpolation, right?
Yep. So change to there. And I guess like in here, for example, I could say, oh, okay, this is the character's name. So I could do character.name. And then this, we'll worry about the link in a second. Okay. C character still works fine. And then what we can do is, it's not really that complicated. That's really all we needed, right? We didn't have anything fancy there. It was just that. So yeah, we don't really have to change much after that, except for the A tag we'll have to get to. And we can get rid of this card too. But the point is, I just wanted to recreate that HTML element. That's what inner HTML is great for, right? So now, also I want to call this thing character card because it's really more of a card than just like a character. So we're going to append character. Ooh. And then, oopsies. Card. And now we should have a bunch of those. Yep.
Hey.
Pretty nice, right? It looks a lot nicer if you just give it a background color or something like that, but I don't want to waste too much time. Cool. Then what do? Now what I would do is I would go to the, this is the tricky part here, is whatever you make this href is the link that it goes out to, right? So what I might actually do just to make this cleaner is say, oh, okay, let me make this button. I'm gonna just tab this in. Now it's starting to look a little bit more like HTML. You could also do this and tab it in. This just makes it look cleaner. It shouldn't change anything. And if we want, we can confirm this. I'm not gonna save it. And now I'm gonna save it and go back to it just to confirm that it didn't really change anything. So everything stayed the same. We just changed the spacing. I think that's easier to read. And now I can like edit this like I could edit this # to be like the actual thing I would link to. So to link to something, I don't know, I would maybe call it show character is what we're linking to, right? .html, which we're gonna have to make a show character HTML, right? And then we also, what's the other thing that needs to go here so that way I can provide and tell it which character to go to? This is going to seal some things together.
Query parameter.
Query params. And I can say, I don't know, something like ID equals. Now I could just put in my character.id. Make sense?
That's nuts.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a thing of beauty?
It's nuts.
Yep. So now let's just make sure that link is working. It's probably not going to actually do anything because we haven't created a show HTML thing. But I go there. Now it says it cannot get show character HTML. Maybe because we haven't fucking created one, god damn it. So let's make one. Cool. So I can just go in here and we'll just say show character.html. And the very first step that I would do is I would just go ahead, make some of that shit, and I just want to test it. So I'm literally just going to make an H1 that says showing a character. But, oh, Jesus. And hopefully if I did this right, showing a character, but I'm not sure which one. Cool. So how do we solve the next problem in figuring out which one?
You have to make a JS file for show.
Mm-hmm. Hang on a second, I have to respond to someone.
URL search. What's the last word in that one? Search parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Is that right? Dot location, if my memory serves me correctly.
Cool. So let's talk about this. So what we start off with is I need to get this part here. That's the first thing I need. So in order to grab that, I'll just kind of give you, if I do window.location.search, it gives me that query params on the end there. That's just a little kind of cheat you got to know. And then JavaScript has this library or this object called URL search params. And you can instantiate this object with, for example, right now I'll just instantiate it with ID equals 1. I do that. And now it creates this object. Let's store that object as something just real quick, just so I could show you. Whoops. Balls. Oh, it's that. That's why I was doing this. Is something up. Sorry. Const. We're just going to call it search params. And kind of like that. Oh, whoops. Shit. Need an equal sign. Unexpected identifier. Oh, that H at the end. So kind of like that form thing I showed you. This has a .get method where I can get by key value pair, which in query params, a key value pair is like something equals something. It's the thing to the left of the equal sign. So if I want to get ID, I type in ID here, and now I have that ID equals 1. And then if I want to take that and turn it into a number, I could just put a plus sign at the left of it. It's a hacky JavaScript thing. Or you could also do parse int. You will see this a lot of the times as well. That's the other way of doing it. Whoa. But the plus sign to the left of it is like a quick hacky way of doing it. Cool. All right, so already that's our starting point. So let's make a JavaScript file for this. Okay, I'm gonna go script source. We'll call it show character.js. Oh, shit. Cool. And then we also probably want to defer there. Nice. And now, probably need to make a show character.js. If I was going slow, which I'm going to do actually, I can console.log, make sure I'm hitting it. Check it. Uh-oh. It doesn't like something that I did. Show character. And are we hitting it? Doesn't look like we're hitting it. Because I'm importing the show character.js. Did I not save this? Oh, there we go. Now we're hitting it.
Yeah.
So now this is where we start with like that, the params equals windows.location.search. And you can kind of combine all that into one thing. You'll say const ID equals new URL.
URL search
Is it
param.
capital?
Yeah.
Search params. And then we instantiate that with window.location.search. I would say write this line of code down.
It's 100% what to do.
Yeah, I think that that's like one of those things that I don't expect you to understand until you do it 1,000 times. And it's a stupid reason to like maybe not pass a code challenge, in my opinion, because you could really understand what you're doing and just not remember this part. So you have my permission to cheat a little there.
Thanks.
And then on this, you would call .get and then ID. Do that. And then now here, let's just console.log ID and see if it works. Bam, 1. And now what happens if I press enter right now? What do we expect it to be?
26.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hello.
Now it might actually be a good idea to turn that into an integer as well. So if you want to turn it into an integer, you would have to go all the way, like let's say here.
Parse int the entire thing.
Yeah, let's check, see if that works. There we go. And I think you could do like type of ID and it'll tell you number. If I get rid of this, give that a save, and I run the same line of code, string.
Nice.
It's kind of cool, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't you dare call me sir again.
Oh, sorry. I know that feeling.
Okay, so now how do I like take this and turn it into a show page? We did all the hard stuff.
You interpolate it to the other thing that you just did, to that other.
Sure.
Wait, no.
So start me off. What do I do?
Do you need to go back to index.js to complete this, or we're still in this?
No, you don't do it from index.js because guess what? Show character.html is not connected to index.js. It's connected to show character.js. So what can I do with this ID? What tools do I have at my disposal? You ready for that moment?
Please.
What happens if I go to localhost characters, whoops, /1?
It's just that guy, just that one.
Okay, so can I make a fetch call to just that guy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so now what I do is I just can do my characters and then /, and let's actually just replace these with backticks.
You just need ID, right?
Mm-hmm. So now I can add in ID. And when I make a fetch to that point, I can do the same exact shit as before. It's literally the same thing. Oh, that looks hideous. And then under here, another dot then. We can do whatever we want.
All right, John. I feel pretty good. I have to take my first code challenge today. So
Oh,
before-
Jesus. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
awesome. Thank you guys.
You got it. All right, cool. Did that put some stuff together for you, Sam?
Oh no, for sure. I mean, this whole starting from fetch on, I was super shaky about, just all the front end stuff. But the stuff that I've learned today has been, it's been transcendental.
Transcendental. I don't know what that means. You're smarter than me.
Stop it. No, it's just, I don't know. It's a belongs to a higher power. It's just, I feel.
Oh, like transcending. Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So you feel a lot better? I'm trying to think of what time it is because I might have to go give some coach. I probably should go give some code challenge reviews.
Oh, no. Do your thing. Yeah, for sure. I need to take it. I'm going to take mine right now anyways. So
Okay.
I'm not anticipating on passing it, but I'm certainly going to go a hell of a lot farther than I did on Tuesday.
That's totally fine, dude. It sounds like you had a lot of aha moments, and that's what we want. So good job. It sounds like you got a lot out of the lesson, which makes me feel like I'm doing something.
I couldn't have done it without you. I promise you I would not have been able to do this on my own. So good luck with the code challenges, all right?
All right. Thanks so much, Sam.
Sir,
All
see
right.
you
Have a
later.
good one.